Till it's live.
Right.
Ooh, that was fast today. Hello.
Hello.
And StreamYard must have done something to speed this up. Usually it takes a couple of seconds. Well, doesn't matter. Just, more time with you guys. Awesome. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our live conversation about Stephen King's Pet Semetary. Let's see if my coordination works. There. Stephen King's Pet Semetary. Ches, Danielle, and I read that last month. We were all a little bit hesitant. And we all had a lot of thoughts after we were done. So we thought, let's get together and talk about it because it is a great book and there's lots to talk about in this book. Before we get started, though, do you guys want to introduce yourself real quick, just in case someone doesn't know who you are?
Sure thing. Go ahead, Danielle.
I'm Danielle. My channel is Bookchara. I am not currently very active on there, but I am still very active in my read-alongs that I host with Amy at A-Star Reads and Paige at Pages with Paige, and that is Bookstara. You're welcome to join us anytime.
And I'm Chaz. My channel is Bookish Chaz, and I'm pretty active. I usually post a couple videos a week, and I love doing buddy reads, especially on books like this. I feel like the more people, the better. That way we can all cry together and do.
That was a good therapy session. Yes.
I did not cry.
Yeah.
Well, at least someone's evening is now complete. That is awesome. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Oh, Jake is here.
He's here. He's here.
The Stephen King encyclopedia, so he can correct us
Right.
if we say something wrong. Hey, Stacy. Stacy, have you read Pet Semetary yet? I don't remember. Hello.
Hi.
Yep. Sure. Whatever that means. But yes. All right. So before we dive super deep into spoilers, I wanted to ask you, like, a spoiler-free for someone who hasn't read Pet Semetary yet, because I think this is an interesting book to do that with. Like, how would you describe Pet Semetary to someone to get them to read it if they haven't read it yet?
Oh.
I'm not very good at summarizing things, especially something like that complex.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to Pet Semetary, so it's hard to it's hard to give an elevator pitch to a book like that.
It is.
Yeah. If you're looking for a book to help you explore deep levels of grief, this is the book for you.
Yes. And Jess, since one of the comments that you said is, oh yeah, this hits hard because I have children.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely.
That's why I'm saying this, Mark, just so you know, since I know you are dad too. Oh, the first book. Okay, so internal conversation there. Yeah, so for me, now that I know what it is about, I think the best description is none, to go into it as blind as possible, but knowing, because that was definitely a misconception for me, that it is not the King horror book, right? It's not like a slasher jump scare kind of horror book in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was interesting, because that's for the longest time I thought what it was, because I just knew snippets of the movie, and it was always more like on the scary movie type site, and it's not at all like that. Not really a lot, at least. There are some scenes that are a bit spooky, but not really. It's really more about the experience with grief.
And there is always that continuous feeling of dread, not like you said, not so much like the jump scare, but like just dread. I know.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Short and sweet. There we go. Okay, we can end it now. We got it. Yeah.
I wish I hadn't. I regret watching the movie. Yeah.
Did you watch the movie before or after? After. Okay.
Same with me. I'd never seen it before, and I watched it after, and I didn't I didn't necessarily fully regret watching it, but I wouldn't watch it again. It wasn't, in my mind, a great adaptation of the book. And
cheesy is the word I heard.
what's that?
Cheesy is the word I heard at one
Yeah,
point.
it definitely has the cheese factor. Yeah, although not as bad as some movies I've seen. Not as bad as some, but it definitely has the cheese factor.
How old is the movie? When was that made?
1989, I think is when it came out. Yeah.
Oh, so not too long after the book then.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, I just seen like the puppet cat and things like that, and was like, yep, this is not a book for me. Not a movie for me. I will not.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a scaredy cat.
And that was one of the things that initially worried me about reading this book, is because I thought there would be a lot of like pet brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And not that there wasn't. I mean, but that wasn't what the book was about.
Right.
That it was more about like the grief and family members dying and things like that. But I mean, the stuff with animals was definitely there.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, listen, this book is hard to talk without spoilers. So we're just, in case you want to avoid spoilers, I'm sorry, we just have to jump into it. But yeah, sorry, Jess, continue.
You have to go.
That was pretty much all I'd said. I assumed we would be talking spoilers because, yeah, it's hard.
It's hard to not to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Stephen King is not afraid of anything. I mean, I've read a couple of books by him now, where I'm like, what in the F is happening here? Not necessarily this one, others, but he is not afraid of anything. Yeah. Yeah, that was like the expectation. I mean, obviously with the name Pet Semetary, you're expecting a bunch of zombie animals,
Right.
jumping around. Like that was for me the first thought where I went. And then a bunch of like ghosty, spooky stuff and, the typical music that is coming in horror movies where like, okay, in a couple of seconds, something bad is going to happen. Like that was my expectation of the book. And it's spoiled. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well,
and what's interesting is the name of the book. It's definitely a catchy title. I mean, it draws you in, but the name of the book's kind of a misnomer because the real actual cemetery involved in the story is not really the Pet Semetary.
That I thought was super interesting too. I agree that because you get to see the Pet Semetary really early on with all the animals that are buried there and the story that comes with it, and then all of a sudden you realize, nah, that's not it.
Yep. Yeah, that's not.
I was telling Chaz that I think that was almost like an attention grab kind of thing because I mean, if he had called it the Micmac burial ground, like, would you have picked it up? I don't know.
No, probably
right.
No. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, or the Wendigo strikes again. I think that I don't.
Yeah, and then the expectation would have been really different. Think about it. Like the Wendigo strikes again, like then you're expecting something entirely out of left field and not what we ended up seeing on the page. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm messing myself up. Great. Anyway, it's just water. So what did you think? Loaded question. I know.
I loved it. I had never read Stephen King before, and then I got done reading it and I couldn't quit thinking about it. And I was like, well, that won't be the last Stephen King I read.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, I haven't stopped thinking about it either. And I read several Stephen King books, and I finished Misery at the same time that I was reading Pet Semetary. And both of those books, like I had to sit with my memories of what I just read. And I've enjoyed other Stephen King books, but I think those are the two that have really sat with me the deepest.
Yeah. Why did she not enjoy it? Did she tell you? Now I'm curious. Too brutal? How old was she when she read it? That might also be a question because I've heard a couple of people say that they read it when they were younger and then read it again when they were, grown up and that it hit differently at that point. And I can totally see that. Yeah. So Danielle, if this was your first King book, so what then, especially, like, what was your expectation? Because King is a well-known author, right? Like, you've seen like movies out there, books out there. Like, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, I think that's part of why I put off reading Stephen King for so long, was because I knew that there was, a huge like fan base that just loves him, like, and can do no wrong. And so I was like, what if I hate him? But no, I thought it was great. I wish, now I'm like, why did I wait so long? But
yeah. Although I have to say that a lot of, like, this was, I believe, my 19th book by him. They tend to be different. Like, he is very varied as a writer, or a storyteller in that sense, right? Oh wait, she was 6. Oh, come on, Edward. Okay, interesting. Yeah. For me, I agree with you guys. So I definitely had a longer time sitting with it as well. It took me a while to just process everything that happened. It was definitely not a quick read, even though it's 300-400 pages or something. It is relatively short for a King book. But yeah, it took me nearly 2 weeks to read through it, just because I also didn't want to race through it. I wanted to give it the time and process it. And even though it's not, a jump scare horror type book, I couldn't read it late at night either. So
I read it at night successfully until the scene where Gage attacked. What's the older gentleman's name?
The neighbor.
Jed. And then I couldn't read it at night anymore. But then that was really like the worst thing for me. So after that, I technically would have been fine, but I just had it in my head that it was going to be that level of awful.
Yeah. And that was very close to the end then.
Yeah.
Yeah. When everything unravels all of a sudden. This suspense of the book, so as you're saying this, like, the suspense of the book is crazy too. Like, the half the book, you're basically prepping for, that awful moment. And then you spend nearly the second half, nearly the complete second half following, oh shoot, I'm terrible with names too. What's the main character's name? Justin.
Louis.
Oh yeah, Louis.
Louis.
Yeah.
Louis, thank you. Following Louis, contemplating, do I do it or do I not do it? And going back and forth. And it's so slow all of a sudden. Such a slow movement. And then the last pages, everything, you're like, ah!
Right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. As we're talking about pace, right? So the first half is kind of medium paced, I would say. And then the second half starts out very slow. Very, very slow, with a lot of anticipation, and oh my goodness, you're just waiting for it to happen. Especially that second half. I was just sitting there, it's like, oh my God, just can you please go on and just do it? Like, I cannot wait. This is crazy. But it's good, like, not in a bad way, in a really good way. Like, he sets the anticipation so well, and then all of a sudden everything happens all at once at the end.
Even the slower paces. Sorry, go ahead, Danielle.
I was just going to say, this had longer chapters, didn't it?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah. It was very, very different. Like, it had some really short chapters, and then like half-hour chapters, and then a 2-minute chapter, and then a 20-minute chapter.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and I will say, though, that the slower paced chapters were still very well paced. It grabbed your attention. It just wasn't nearly as suspenseful, maybe, as the last half of the book or whatever. But yeah, it definitely. And I mean, there were times that you could prepare yourself too, right? Because Stephen King spoils 2 big moments for you prior to them happening. He spoils Norma's death a couple of chapters before she dies.
Yeah.
And he spoils Gage's death before he gets hit by the truck, right?
Well, so the cat too, technically, right? I mean, even at
too.
Yeah, so all 3.
Yeah.
Technically. Which I think is an interesting way of doing that, right? Yeah. I don't know if that actually made it worse or better, knowing what would happen. And I don't mean worse in a like, oh, this is a crappy book type of thing, but worse in a knowing what's about to happen. Like you already know, like everything that you're reading, you know where this is going.
Yeah, you just kind of want to get it over with at that point. Okay, can you just pull the?
Can you just kill the person?
Yeah. It was helpful for me though in a way because it gave me time to prepare myself, especially for, I mean, you know, the worst thing a parent can possibly imagine is losing their child. So I needed that spoiler to help me prepare for what was coming. I mean, I kind of already knew that something like that was going to happen, right? But I don't know. I needed that extra time to prepare mentally because, you know, that, God, my worst nightmare ever would be to lose one of my kids. Yeah.
Every parent probably.
Yeah, every
Yep.
parent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that was it. It was good, but I can see why it would also not be good. Like a lot of people talk about, you know, how much they hate that Stephen King spoils his books. Because
Well, right here.
Yeah. It's not. It's not just this book either. He does it in a lot of his books, but yeah, it does make it less impactful in a way. Jake, you're right. Yeah.
How about for you, Danielle?
I now, like, in hindsight, I think I'm not necessarily like glad that he did it, but I think it was kind of like if he was trying to mess with us, like that was a good way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it reads differently, right? The book reads differently because of that. You're experiencing everything that happens after he spoils it in a very different way. I think the book would be a lot more boring. If you think about, because there's a lot of stuff that still happens between him announcing it and it actually happening, right? There's a lot of like random stuff just happening. And I could see it being incredibly boring if he wouldn't have announced it and then just went through the motions of like, oh, we're going grocery shopping, whatever it is that they were doing. But it was like, you know, regular stuff. Although you probably would have written the book differently. I don't know. But yeah, if without the spoilering, the story would have went differently for me too. And I agree. I actually appreciated the preparation of all three of them because like the cat wasn't easy for me either. Norma wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Like none of those were easy deaths. And woof. Yeah.
And even with the spoiler, I don't think Gage's death was necessarily easier either because I mean, you're in that chapter and he gives you the spoiler, and then the very next chapter you flip the page and we're in the funeral home. It's like, okay, what?
All right.
Okay, you're not even going to tell us how it happened. We're just going to end up in the funeral home now. Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah. I'm jumping in real quick because Stacy gave us the answer. So it was 2 stars, and it was not too long ago that her sister read it. Too cheesy. I can see why someone thinks the end is too cheesy. It takes an interesting turn. Yeah. Spaying, neutering pets. Yeah, that was interesting too. With the I don't want my cat neutered, kind of this whole male taking the maleness away of the cat conversation.
Right. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
That was funny. With the spoiler, have you read, I don't know, maybe it was just my edition that I had, but I read the intro from Stephen King, like the whatever it's called, forward from Stephen King. And it started with that he thinks it's the scariest book he ever wrote. And then he explained why, which I thought also hit differently after then knowing what the story is about, because he basically tells us that he moved to a town like this, to a house next to a street exactly like this, with trucks passing by exactly as it is in the story. And the biggest fear he had is that his son, who was the age of Gage at that point, would run in front of a truck like this. And that it nearly, I believe even he said it nearly happened at one point. And knowing that, and then reading the book, like he basically wrote his worst fear out on paper because it was his life to a certain extent that he wrote about. And that is so wild to me.
Yeah, and even he was concerned that he went too far.
Wasn't it something with, I keep messing up myself, I'm sorry, just ignore it. he had it in his pockets for a while, right? Like he wrote it a lot earlier than he published it, something like that. Jake,
Yeah,
that's stuff that you know, right?
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I also thought it was interesting, like it was a lot of the perspective of Louis, right? Like that was the perspective that we got in the book, that he told us everything, and how fast it flipped from just normal life with 2 kids, him being a doctor, everyday life, and then to that following him going down that rabbit hole of I'm digging up my son and I'm reburying him. And I'm going through all this knowing what's happening because I saw it with the cat. Like that was also kind of an interesting switch in just his demeanor essentially in the book, and the watching the going crazy part as part of that. Yeah, he kept it for a while and then he used it for something. Yeah. I mean, having read other King books, I don't think it's his scariest one. I don't think that he went too far with this one. There are other books where I would argue that he went too far. Like Apt Pupil is one of those where that I halfway through I threw away because I was like, dude, no. Just no.
I haven't read one yet, but
yeah, I'll give you trigger warnings if you want to know. But yeah, I didn't think that he went too far with this one. I mean, at that time, how many books has he did he write at that point? Wait, let me look. I have a list here somewhere of all of his books. Pet Semetary was, sorry. Where is it? Like his 18th book that he published. So he had a couple. Oh, he even he published Apt Pupil before he published Pet Semetary. Oh my goodness. So then I really don't understand why he's saying that he went too far with this one. Oh my goodness. But yeah, he didn't publish as much back then. So Jake, that would be a question for you. Pet Semetary was published in 1983. Do you think there's anything worse or harsher or darker than Pet Semetary afterwards? Did he go further down afterwards? While Jake is typing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have not read a ton of Stephen King. I just I don't read them in order or anything like that. I just kind of read what I want to read and skip the ones I don't want to read. And this was going to be one of those skips until I got convinced by two ladies who might be in this room to read it. Mostly looking at you, Fina. You were the culprit.
Well, I needed someone to. I mean, that was really the thing. I was scared about this book. Like, I haven't read it. I haven't read some of his more horror type books in general for that reason, right? And I thought Pet Semetary falls into that same category, that it is the spooky, creepy type of stuff, and I'm really not good with those types of things. And that's why for the longest time I didn't read it, and I just needed someone to read it with me. I'm glad you guys did.
Yeah, me too, honestly. This is definitely one of those books where there's comfort in numbers. So yeah, the more people you have reading it together, the less dreadful I think it is.
Yeah.
And you have somebody to process it all with,
Yeah. And I'm seeing this now. I find it funny because we are now nearly 20 minutes plus in, and we keep talking about the grave and more the psychological darkness of it. And as Stacy is saying, Gerald's Game has some darker scenes, and ZK is sorry. is saying the description of Gage's body after Louis dug him up. There is some body horror in it too, but it kind of goes, I don't know, with the main theme of the book, it kind of goes out the window. Oh, this is not that bad. You dug up a body. Okay, but why you're digging up the body is actually much worse. But yeah, there were some interesting scenes with the cat and the description of how they're coming out of the Micmac burial ground, right? And then how he dug up the whole scene with him jumping over the fence in the graveyard and kind of running in circles beforehand and, collecting all the tools that he needs and then digging and digging and digging. And oh my goodness, that was also something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You read about things with King that you would never ever do. At least I hope none of us would ever want to dig up a body, really. And he describes it in a detail where you're like, hey, how do you know this kind of stuff, sir? How do you come up with this? How do you research for how to dig up a body and what that experience is? And then experiencing this in such a vivid manner is something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he had to have talked to like morticians and like, graveyard attendants and stuff like that to find out all this stuff. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty gruesome.
It was intense. I find it so fascinating that he has quite the fascination with Native American legends and stuff like that, with the Wendigo, and there's even some of that in Stephen King's It, and trying to think of the other one. I can't think of it right now. The other one that had some of that as well, but
Thinner had a little bit too, right? I don't know if you've read that book.
Sure, I haven't read Thinner, but
there was some. I don't know if it was Native American, or if it was. I'm blanking on the culture right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get it later. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, like diving into stuff like that. It brings an extra layer to the story. I think to see that backdrop there, and it kind of gets you thinking about just respecting those sacred spaces, and
no kidding,
not disturbing the spirits that may roam in those places. And I don't know about you, but like when he was first going with Jed to the Micmac Cemetery, and he had Jed stop and pause and just be quiet for a minute while the entity, whatever it was, moved across the forest or whatever. I'm like, oh God. I can't imagine like being there and experiencing something like that, It gave me the willies.
Yeah, that trek, that original trek, like to the Micmac burial ground, and then also like how you guys mentioned the whole cemetery scene and trying to get in there and climbing over fences and climbing trees and doing all that. Both of those, I think, were just like one, scenes that like really, really stuck with me and really like pulled me in,
Yeah, same here.
It is again, right? It's those multiple things that he covers in the book. It's like this character view of Louis, essentially, like his life, right? You get to see him, you're in his head, you're following him throughout everything. And then you have these kind of weird moments in the forest and on that way. Those, oh my goodness, that was definitely something. And then the kind of body horror when all the cemetery stuff is happening and whatnot. So it's interesting, like what a mix of the books are. So because when I read other King books, and I don't know if it's more a general thing, and I just read more like the, not so much mainstream books by him, but usually he focuses on one thing, more or less, or maybe two of those things, but he doesn't combine like all the horror things in this one book. Maybe that's what he meant with he went too far. I don't know. And it sounds like Cujo is also pretty rough. Multiple people saying that. That is also a book that was the wrong one. Sorry. there. That is also a story that I'm a little bit hesitant on
Yeah,
reading.
that's one that I've been hesitant with too.
Yeah. Dreamcatcher, isn't that the alien story? Isn't
Oh,
Dreamcatcher aliens?
Forgot about that one. I haven't read that one, but I've heard it's really good. Yeah. He can. Yes. Yeah, he can get pretty graphic. Depends on the book though.
Yeah.
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 I think some of his books that are like intended as horror books, he's a little more graphic in. There were graphic elements in the Dark Tower series, but not that much. He definitely leaned a lot more into the fantasy and sci-fi with Dark Tower than he did with the horror aspects, although there is some of that as well.
Yeah. Under the Dome was also not too graphic. I don't remember. It was more weird. Under the Dome was more weird. Some of the Richard Bachman books are also not graphic. Like Roadwork is not really graphic. Long Walk is very graphic. Thinner, I don't remember being graphic either. It's just an interesting story. Blaze was not graphic. Yeah, I'm thinking. App Pupil was very graphic. My goodness. I will never get this book out of my head again, I don't think. Yeah, it depends. Institute was also not very graphic, I don't think. Fairy Tale, I don't remember being graphic either. Yeah, those are the ones that I read. Yeah, Tom Gordon, also hints of indigenous lore. Yeah, that has been a long time that I read that one. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't read that one either.
I mean, the description of the getting the body out of the graveyard. Oh, I don't know if I would call it splatterpunky, but it was pretty.
It's it's I don't know if it gets splatterpunky. I've read splatterpunk, so I know kind of what you're getting at, but I don't think it ever quite goes there, but it's definitely right on that edge at points.
Yeah. Judd and Rachel. I think all of them, even Norma with her like arthritis and her just being there. I mean, she doesn't talk much, right? But
yeah,
there are a lot of great characters in here. So if you think about Judd and Rachel, like the immediate ones, and then here, what do you think of Victor? Oh God, now I'm blanking on Victor. Was that the guy?
No, that's the boy that died early
at
on.
the very beginning, right? Yeah, that
very beginning. He's the one that was the victim of that horrific car accident. He was on his bike, I think, and somebody, but that was creepy, and especially because. Like when he wakes up on the table, and I mean he's basically dead, but he wakes up on the table and he's like talking to Judd, or not Judd. I'm sorry, to Lewis.
Yeah,
and like saying these things, and be careful. And then he visits him later and takes him out to the graveyard and stuff, and don't go beyond this point. And it's like, whoa, yeah. Yeah.
And he talked to the girl too in her dream, right?
Ellie, yeah.
Yeah, I'm horrible with names. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He did talk with Ellie in her dream. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And that's where this book went kind of into that creepy realm for me. That was the moment where, when he came back, where I realized, okay, this is not just the story about grief and him losing the father. I mean, of course, I saw the cat coming back before and all of those kind of things. But that's the moment where, similar to an Under the Dome, there's a point where you lose, like, you're like, this is ridiculous and I'm done. Or you're like, oh, this is awesome. And this is so crazy that it is awesome. And you continue. And I feel this was similar in that sense, where you're, Victor in the dream, and then with the Wendigo, and where he actually sees the Wendigo when he goes down the second time, and he actually to bury his son, and then where he actually sees the Wendigo passing by and all that stuff. That's the moment where it's like, okay, this is the crazy part of Stephen King now, where the whole book turns from normal, quote unquote, to completely out of left field. Yeah. And yeah, similar probably, where either you like it or you don't.
The whole time I was just like, make better choices, Lewis. And he was like kind of like a little bit judgmental of Rachel and her like issues with death and everything, but then the way he handled it wasn't much better either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Once she finally came to terms with her sister's death and talked to him about it, like, she was eventually kind of doing okay, but like his response to Gage was just completely exactly what he kind of ridiculed her about. Yeah, the way she was dealing with it was normal, whereas the way that he deals with it is, I'm going to go dig up my son. Dude, that's not normal.
Well, and especially because he started out with, so right after the death, right? Like everything with the funeral home and whatnot, he actually reacted similar, actually, like Rachel did, in denial and not talking to anyone about it,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, if you think about, first of all, Rachel's experience as a child, like once she told us that story, because we didn't know that, right? We didn't know why she was so hesitant about death till that point. But once she told the story about the sister, that had me freaking out completely as well. I mean, it was like, I get you. I totally understand that you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to talk about it. Completely understand you immediately. And then he does kind of the same thing, right? He gets kind of into this denial, and I'm not talking to my wife. I'm not helping her. I'm not supporting her. I'm just doing my own thing, kind of, in my own world. It was interesting to me, but even before he went completely crazy and started digging up his son. Yeah.
And I can totally get the desire to want to have your child back. I mean, yeah, what parent wouldn't? But to go to those lengths, it's like, okay. I mean, you already know that the cat did not come back quite right, dude. It's like, that should have been your first clue. Like, he even said it during the book. He's like, oh no, this time it'll be better. And even after everything went haywire with Gage, and Gage just became this monster, he's like, oh no, with my wife it'll be better. I'll bring back Rachel. She'll be normal. I know what to do now. No, dude, you don't know what to do.
Oh yeah, he was like, oh, I waited too long. I waited too long with Gage.
I mean, how much do you guys think it is the Wendigo pushing him in both for the wife and the son?
Yeah, I kind of got the impression, thinking back over it, that I think it's almost like the Wendigo was waiting for him to come and give it power. Yeah, I kind of got that impression. What about you, Danielle?
I don't know. I was just thinking back to even how the Wendigo or the cemetery or whatever, like whatever that is, had even control over Judd in like leading him out there in the first place. So yeah, I could see it as part of like a grand plan,
Yeah. Because we learn at the end who we have in Gage's body, right? Like, we know that is I'm blanking on, again, names, right? Especially if they were mentioned just once. But there's this whole backstory of, years ago, what Judd is telling, like, yeah, there was someone who tried to put a human into the Pet Semetary, and it went really wrong and came back all wrong. And it turned like, well, from what it sounded like, they never really fully explained it, but from what it sounded like, Judd ended up killing that boy. So the entity that was in that boy wanted to come back really badly. And that's what ended up in Gage's body, right? Like, he killed Judd, whatever entity that is. So yeah, I'm absolutely wondering that. And then the boy got killed by Louise. So who knows if then something called to him again, like that same thing called to him again to then say like, hey, there's another dead body. Throw that in there. We'll try it again.
Right. Yeah, and then you're kind of left to assume at the end that whatever Rachel is now is probably going to kill Lewis, but we just don't know. We never get that closure. You know, it's one of those endings where it's like, you decide how it ends. Use your imagination.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danielle. Sorry.
Oh, no. Usually I don't like, ambiguous endings. But also, I'm kind of thinking like, it could have gone on and on, like, so yeah, that was definitely one way to just stop.
Close it out. Yeah. Well, that was my first thought, right? That then Rachel comes back and then she killed someone and throws them in there, and then like it creates a little whatever army in that little town. So Jake, if Jake is still online, maybe you can tell us, is there like a reference to the Pet Semetary in other books? Because that would be interesting. That could be a Stephen King thing to do, right? That in a later book he references what happened in that little town and then gives you a little bit of closure as to what happened after Rachel was resurrected. That would be funny. I could totally see that. I don't know if that actually happened.
That would be really interesting because so now I'm not saying that this is a thing, but there's a very, very brief mention in Misery of Paul Sheldon having an ex-wife named Eileen. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that that's Ellie, but I mean, we learn in the book that Ellie is short for Eileen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's a connection there, but it seems a little...
for Stephen King, it doesn't seem coincidental. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and it may be, and I may just be totally blowing smoke, but
that's the fun thing about his books, right? Like there's so many connections where you could sit there and it's like, is this now a connection or is it not a connection? Right.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, Edward. I don't.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, very Cujo and Pet Semetary. Oh,
maybe not.
Yeah.
But there's in Pet Semetary too. I've caught, I believe, 3 references to other books. I don't know if you caught those too. Well, Danielle, you haven't read the other books yet, so probably not. But I don't know, Chaz, if you caught them. Not books that I've read, but I just knew that it was happening. I would have to look it up again. I should have written it down. But I caught, I believe, 2 or 3 references to other books where I thought like, I know what he's talking about, kind of. Like the city, he talked about a certain city, or he mentioned a hotel. I was like,
yeah. He did mention I think there was a passing mention of the town of Bloodbows. Oh, okay, interesting. Maybe so.
So we have to read the Dark Half next to know what happened with Ludlow.
I seem to remember isn't Ludlow and Bangor. I think they might have briefly mentioned Derry just in passing.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I caught. Yep,
Derry. So, yeah. Who knows? There's so many connections there, and I mean, even though it may not be called that in every book, I think it's pretty obvious that Ellie and probably Lewis too both have the shine. Even though it's not called that in this book, it's the same kind of ability. Well, and even Judd, like, there's something there, like, premonition and like a clairvoyance type stuff, just like in The Shining. And
I haven't read The Shining yet, so
yeah. And there's a lot of characters in Stephen King's books that have.
Can you tell me Green Mile? Because
I've never read Green Mile, but I've heard that there's a character in there that has a little bit of what would be called the shine. Yeah. And is able to see like dead people and, talk with dead people and things like that. So, it's not called that in every book, but a lot of Stephen King's books have that kind of clairvoyance and, characters that have those abilities.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, yeah. Yeah, especially, well, have you read The Shining, Fina?
No, I have not.
Yeah. And
I've also not watched the movie. Also,
yeah,
will never happen.
I won't spoil anything else. I won't say anything else about that, but I think you guys would both really like The Shining. I highly recommend it. Don't bother with the movie. No, I'm just kidding. The movie's fine. It's just, I hated it because I watched it after reading the book, and it's practically nothing like the book. But Jack Nicholson is brilliant. He's always brilliant, though, so that's kind of a given. But yeah, book's definitely better there. Sorry. Anyway, we're talking about Pet Semetary.
That's okay. Sometimes conversations can go into different directions. All good. Yeah, I mean, maybe The Shining is then the next book that we read.
Maybe. I mean,
in our little therapy group, and then we can have another therapy session afterwards to talk through everything.
I don't know if I'll reread it with you because I loved it. I would say it's my second favorite Stephen King book. Salem's Lot is my absolute favorite Stephen King book.
Because vampires?
Oh yeah, vampires. I'm all about vampires. Yeah, I know, Jake. I know you like the movie. We'll agree to disagree. I still love you, man.
But isn't it often that, especially when you had it in Pet Semetary just now, both of you, that you read the book and then you watched the movie and you both were kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that again.
There were a lot of changes in the movie, but overall it was an okay adaptation, in my opinion.
Danielle's like, no.
It was just really cheesy, though. Yeah.
They left out so many characters.
They did, and they combined Norma and Missy. Was it? Yeah, they combined Norma and Missy, and that was just weird. So Norma didn't actually exist in the movie. Yeah. But,
well, that's a big miss. She was a great character. Again, even though she didn't say much, but I loved, because it gave the whole story a little bit of sunshine, both Judd and Norma, even though Judd had that creepy vibe going. But I loved this kind of small town, old timey, like the glimpses that we got every now and then when they were talking about when I was in my 20s, blah, 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 blah. And then they were describing how the world was back then in their small town. And in general, they're how they lived their life and how everything went on. I love that part.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite scenes in the book, and this is going to sound so mean, when he thrashed his father-in-law, I was like, yeah, that asshole had it coming. Sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm
no,
calm.
You're good. Salem's Lot is also big on my want-to-read list. One of the books that I haven't read yet. I started it years and years ago, but never actually read it. And I like vampire stories. So,
have you read The Dark Tower, Fina?
Only the first book.
Okay, you definitely want to read Salem's Lot before you get to book 5.
Okay, yeah, I've heard it multiple times now that there's a certain reading order you should be because you spoil things, whatnot. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, the Wolves of the Kala completely spoils Salem's Lot.
That's good to know.
They're intimately entwined. Yeah.
There are a couple of books throughout the series like this that you're supposed to read before whatever book in the Dark Tower. There are probably various lists online that you can look up with here's your reading order if you want to have the complete end Dark Tower experience.
Yeah. There are a lot of recommendations on that, on which order you should read, and
Yeah.
Yeah, because more or less everything goes back to everything falls somewhere along the beam to the Dark Tower in Stephen King's books, with maybe a few exceptions.
There you go. Yeah, that's an entire different story then again. That is a whole other storyline where you have to read multiple books in a certain order. But you have the perfect person exactly to talk to about exactly those things and which order to read what.
Right.
Oh, Firestarter is also big on my list. Yeah, so they're
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah. Firestarter, Misery. I haven't read Misery yet. I'm waiting for who am I waiting for? Todd, I believe, is reading in order, and Josh and I wanted to read Misery together once he's there.
Good. It's heavy, but it's really good.
Yeah. And so those types of books I feel are the King books I like the stuff that is more where you have that big psychological component, which Misery I believe has as well. Again, I don't know fully that you know certain things what it is about, but you don't know details. But Misery, similar to Pet Semetary, right? It's this: you follow someone and watch them do whatever. Yeah. Todd does the same thing, Mark. He is also starting with the older and then one after another.
Danielle, was it you I was talking to that we were talking about, wondering what in the world happened to Stephen King as a child to make him come up with some of these things? Was it you? Maybe it was you, Fina, or maybe it was both of you.
I don't remember that conversation.
I know it came up with someone. Maybe it was you then, Fina, but I was talking with someone and I could have sworn it was one of you two, and we were talking about
I've asked the question multiple times. What must have happened?
Yeah. What causes someone to come up with some of these wild, crazy storylines? And
which, as weird as this sounds, but I appreciate King for that to an extent, because it's it's like an accident. When people stand around it and watch what happened with the accident. King's writing is the same thing. He writes about things that in your normal life, just doesn't happen. You don't deal with these situations, but you always kind of wonder, how would that look like? How would you maybe experience something like that? Would you dig out your child if you would know that there is a thing like this where they would come alive? Something, it's I find it incredibly fascinating to watch people go through things and go insane or go crazy or get aggressive or whatever. It's stuff I would never do, but I find it incredibly fascinating to watch it and to get an idea of how someone might react, how real or not it is at the end of the day. But yeah, that's what I kind of like about his books, the ones that I've read so far, at least. Yeah. I remember it, but I don't remember Ian's reaction anymore. I would have to go back and see what if he liked it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, that does explain a couple of things.
Oh wow, yeah, that does.
Yeah. And I mean, the drugs probably didn't help either, I would assume.
Probably not.
Yeah, you go into weird directions sometimes with drugs, so I could see that.
Yeah.
Oh man. But that's where, also because Jake is here, Roadwork. That's one of the most underrated King books, in my opinion, ever out there that barely anyone ever reads, and it's my favorite. Pet Semetary has not kicked it from its first place, but it is very close. I'm still contemplating if it's second or third place. But Roadwork is a great example for that too, where you just watch someone go insane. Roadwork is a lot more boring than Pet Semetary in comparison. With Roadwork, literally nothing happens. You just literally you follow someone. Jake just put a review out if you guys are interested in that. Summarize it as very well. But you essentially watch someone as their life falls apart and his reaction to it and what he does. And it's completely bonkers. Like a sane person would just move somewhere else and start a new life, and not him. And it's so fascinating. Oops, sorry. It's so fascinating to watch, like, just from a psychological aspect, to watch someone do something like this and understand it too. Like, it's not that I'm sitting there not understand why this person is doing something. Stephen King explains it so well that you're like, yeah, I kind of get you, dude. I don't know if I would do it, but I understand where you're coming from.
That's one of his Richard Bach books, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually think I have the theory that you probably like road work better if you're not as experienced with King's work yet, because it is completely different than what he usually writes. And a lot of people, it's not very highly rated. A lot of people don't like it because not much happens. It's actually a really boring book if you just look at it from a plot perspective. And it's not at all like all of his popular books or anything. It's very different. And so maybe, Danielle, you need to give it a shot.
Wow.
Early on before you get to the big ones, and then you like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I could go back, honestly, and read something like that. Like even the Holly Gibney books, like I haven't read any of them yet, but I hear so many things about how different the Holly universe is compared to like his regular Stephen King stuff, and I'm like, don't know.
See, that could be interesting because I like the general sentiment that I keep seeing, because I haven't read them either yet, but is that Holly is not necessarily liked among King fans, and that would explain that theory, right? That people have a certain expectation when they read It and The Stand and the big books, right? Like the very popular books. And then all of a sudden read something that is not like those big books, but very different. And they're just disappointed because it's they wanted that, but now it's something completely different. So,
well, I don't know. Maybe it would work for me then. I did not like It or The Stand.
Yeah.
The books.
Hey, Andrew. Pet Semetary. Yes, it is. I mean, it's not an easy book to read. Christine is supposed to be awesome.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That was the first King book that I had in my hands. I've not read it because my mom's name is Christine. Oh. So I got the book in the library. I was way too young to even look at Stephen King at that point. But then I never read it once I realized what it is.
It's a car, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the car. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Andrew liked Holly.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, see, I did want to read The Outsider because I was gonna read The Outsider and then watch an HBO miniseries. Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and Jake does not like it at all. So
yeah, I know Jake doesn't. I've seen several of his rants about Holly. Yeah. Yeah, he keeps writing
already.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Jake, you don't like her, but Stephen King loves Holly. That's why he keeps.
Yeah. The comment on Stephen King a bit bloated, I mean, that is applicable for a lot of his books, though.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, The Stand was very bloated. Stephen King's It was bloated as well.
Under the Dome was bloated.
Yeah, I haven't read that one, but I've heard.
It's weird. That ending is weird.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in Stephen King's books too. Bloated and weird tend to go hand in hand with his larger books. I mean, just the ending of, well, maybe not the ending, but close to the ending of It. We all know, so I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I don't want to read it.
Yeah.
So, Danielle, now after hearing all of these great stories about all these weird Stephen King books, which one are you most excited about to read next?
So I guess, according to you, I need to read Roadwork next so that I don't have too much to compare it to.
I mean, it would be an interesting experiment. I would be curious if you not knowing many other Stephen King books, if you would actually enjoy it. That would be pretty interesting.
And then
So if you're up for that experiment, I'd support you.
is it very long?
No, it's a relatively short one. It's like 300 and a little bit pages, I believe. Wait, let me double check. Roadwork, 274. Yeah, yeah.
Right
It's
now,
like
300 pages.
yeah. It's
And then
like
and then it sounds like me and you will do a buddy read of The Shining.
yikes.
She's like, no.
No. Like
for
yes, it's more the again similar to Pet Semetary that preset probably wrong knowledge at this point about what this is, and I was like, oh, let's see if I vibe with this.
You like it sounds like you really like being in people's heads and seeing how they cope and stuff like that. I think you will really love The Shining for that reason, because you are in the head of the main character, which, I mean, technically the young boy is a main character too, but Jack, his father, you're in Jack's head for a good portion of the book, and it's fascinating.
Okay, well that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
Dolores Claiborne. There's another one.
Okay.
Especially as an audiobook. That's good to know. Okay.
Except for the
okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, some of his chunkers should be novels, some of his yes, absolutely. He definitely likes to write long books.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's a much better writer when he writes shorter books. With his longer books, he just gets so far into the weeds, and half of it I'm reading and I'm like, okay, could I just skip this, because I really don't care.
Fast read. That's where an audiobook then comes in handy, right? Because you can just speed up a little bit. And it's like, okay, let's fast forward here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. The Reach is supposed to be a good short story. And which short story collection is that in? Because he always has his gazillion short story collections. Which one is that in? That would be interesting. Okay, Dolores Claiborne, also not a horror book. So Dolores Claiborne is also not a horror book, which that would be okay. Oh, Green Mile, I'm also scared about. Everybody keeps saying how sad it is.
So did the movie mess up the book for me? I don't know.
I have not watched the movie for the same reason.
I haven't seen the movie either. One short story that I really want to read is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, because that's what the movie's based on. Now, I haven't watched the movie either, but I want to read the short story and then watch the movie.
Yeah, shorter stuff is good. How long is Cujo? Is that a longer book? I always thought it's a shorter one. And 11/22/63 is supposed to be also longer, right? That is also one that I'm kind of curious about.
I have no desire to read it.
Fair. Yeah, at this point, Jake was about to say that. You guys are just listing books right now.
American history is boring to me. I have no desire to relive anything from American history.
The question is how he packages it and what he does with it, right? If it gets into the weird category again and there's some weird stuff like a la King happening, it could be interesting again. So yeah, but I think we're at the point where everybody's just listing all the books that they've read. So Danielle, you have a TBR for next year. All the Stephen King books.
Perfect. An entire year of King. I'll be so messed up.
Oh man.
Will you be by the end of it? Are you going to be on anxiety meds, Danielle? No, I'm kidding.
Probably. Yeah.
We need a bigger therapy group at that point.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Wait, Andrew, which movie is better?
The Green Mile?
Well, he's saying here the book is better, but then he says the movie is better. What are you? Which one are you referencing to? Oh, for Shawshank.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I have not read the Shawshank short story, but I watched the movie. Not the type of movie I typically watch, but it was not terrible. Okay, interesting.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Skeleton Crew. That's where the short story was in that you mentioned earlier. My goodness, The Reach. Okay, Skeleton Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Tower is also, my goodness, it shouldn't be that long, but that is also a long series, which is why I haven't progressed on that at all.
Yeah.
Oh no, something really depressing happened that actually made me depressed. Nah.
Oh no.
Yeah. The final book in Dark Tower gets really sad in parts. Yeah. It gets he's
like Pet Semetary sad or different sad?
He's kind of like George R.R. Martin. He's not afraid to kill your darlings.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So yeah, I won't say who, but yeah, there are some sad parts.
Well, if you tell us now, then we can skip the Dark Tower. I can focus on other books.
I would not recommend skipping the Dark Tower, though. It's fantastic, and yeah.
Okay, so Cujo is somewhere between 300 and 400 some odd pages. All right, so it's not too long.
Thank you, Jake. You just confirmed my my resolve not to bother.
I think there are other books that we can read first.
Yeah.
It's what it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah.
Did we thoroughly confuse you, Danielle?
No, I'm still following.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
It's interesting to see like some of the books that are loosely connected and some of the books that have really deep connections to each other.
Click on Stacy's comment.
Yes, something I'm very excited about.
When you say this, do you mean you're reading Red Rising?
Yes.
Wait. Okay, I want to do it too. Because I only made it like 4 books, I think, and then it's been a long time since I read any of it. But I would totally restart it.
Yes, please.
Red Rising 3 chapters in.
Oh, quit. You didn't wait long enough. You didn't go long enough.
You just have to read it in a big group. So like it's so funny because Stacy told me that and I was like, I'm in, because I wanted to read the series so bad for such a long time. And we were just talking about it. It's so funny. You did that on purpose, Stacy, I know. And the one thing, like for me, it was I never started it because I felt this is, and now I'm glad because I think it's going to be so much better to read it in a group. And do Red Rising like all together, and then we can all talk about it because there's probably a lot of stuff happening. So Mark, not only King buddy read, but also Red Rising buddy read, because I know you are part of that as well. And we start in January with book 1. Stacy has an announcement video for that, so I don't want to steal her thunder. Subscribe to her channel if you're not already. Why wouldn't you?
I am.
She's great.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's putting out an announcement video soonish.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Although to be fair, one of my patron tiers does get DNF redemption, so there's always a possibility. But yeah.
So you're saying we need to subscribe to your DNF redemption patron now, so you read Red Rising with us in January?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a tough one.
I'm not gonna force it on you. I'm just gonna tell you you're missing out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what I've heard is that people who didn't like the first book or didn't vibe as much with the first book, when they continued, they completely changed their tune and started loving it. That's what I've heard.
True. Yeah.
I despised Darrow so much that I couldn't keep going. I'm just like, dude, this guy is.
I would name my child after Darrow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right. Nice knowing you didn't know. No, I'm kidding. No, that's fine. I totally respect it. I did not click with him. So yeah.
Maybe you just need to try again. Maybe you are now you grew as a reader. Maybe you appreciate him now.
Yeah, maybe. Now see, maybe if Lewis buried Darrow in the Micmac Cemetery, he would come back in a form that I actually like. No, I'm not.
Maybe, Chaz, you need to write
harsh.
you need to write an adaptation, Chaz, that is based off of Pet Semetary and Red Rising.
Ooh, fan fiction. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, but in order to do that, you need to read Red Rising, right? So you fully know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see where this goes.
He draws character. Oh, what?
Interesting. Wow. That's a choice. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Hey, we're talking about Red Rising at this point, not about Pet Semetary anymore, but this is how these live shows go sometimes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sometimes they're interesting. Yeah.
See, you have at least one reader then for that story. There you go.
Hey, thanks, Jake. I'll let you know when the book is done.
Oh man.
Yeah. We definitely got into the weeds, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Happens like on when Josh and I talked about Children of Time, we were on for like, I don't know, 1.5, 2 hours, and we effectively talked half an hour about the book. So it's all right.
Yeah. It is kind of fun to go down the Stephen King rabbit hole, though, and like hear from different people perspectives on what you should read next and everything like that. Like I definitely got a list of books that I want to read of his, books that are maybes, and books that I'm probably going to skip. And like Needful Things is definitely on my list of books I want to read. And, Eyes of the Dragon, Dr. Sleep. I have to read Dr. Sleep now because I love The Shining so much. And since it's rare for him to write sequels. So I've got
rare, other than Dark Tower and Holly.
Right. Other than
and
Dark
the Outsider, whatever, Billy's whatever story.
Yeah, right.
And the other 5 that are connected.
Yeah. I want to read Fairy Tale, even though I hear it's not.
I loved Fairy Tale.
I'm glad you liked it. That's good.
I actually really loved, sorry, I'll get back to the Running Man and Long Walk in a second. But I love Fairy Tale, except for, similar to It, there's a scene at the end, not quite as weird as It, but there is a scene at the end where, like, why is this even in here? It doesn't make any sense. But I liked all the aspects of it and how he went into the fairy tale land and all the experience there. I know some people think that is a drawn out book. I liked it. Cool. I like the character. I like the.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't think Jake liked Fairy Tale much either.
Yeah.
But Running Man and Long Walk. So that's also 2 Bachman books, and I love the Bachman books by him. Like, I think they are fantastic. Long Walk also hits different. That is. Have you both, Jess, sorry, have you read Running Man or Long Walk?
I haven't. I've heard that the new movie for Long Walk is really good. I saw the original Running Man with Schwarzenegger back in the day.
Best movie ever. No, I'm
just kidding. It was okay for me, but it wasn't great. And I didn't know it was a book at the time that I saw it. And I probably won't go see the new movie that they're making. I don't know if I really have any interest in reading the book. I feel like the Bachman books are definitely on my either maybe or probably won't read list for Stephen King. Yeah.
They're different. Yeah, they're definitely, and there's a reason why he wrote it under a pseudonym back then, right? Because they're just very different to what people knew him for, because they are more, a lot more social commentary, especially Long Walk. Well, Running Man too goes a little bit into dystopian. Both of those are rather similar in that sense, a bit more on the dystopian side. And
I definitely don't mind the social commentary, and I like dystopians and stuff like that. So
they're different in the sense, like, I like Long Walk better than Running Man. So Long Walk is a bunch of 16-year-old boys that, as the name says, they are just walking, right? Like, and you follow them walking and what happens to them, and in some detail. Yes, till only one survives, and it's a literal surviving, because if you don't walk, you get killed, essentially. And this is again one of those books where you're watching something, you're like, you can't believe what it is that you're watching right now. Is more on the graphic side, in that sense. But what I loved about it is it shows how 16-year-olds are, 16-year-old boys are in a really great, like, as part of the story, because it's a bunch of 16-year-old boys, right? And whatever they are talking about, girls and, their hobbies and whatever. And I enjoyed it for that, because it is interesting. As a woman, I would never know how 16-year-old boys are, so it's interesting to see that. And then just this social commentary about, the big society, that is trying to control their people. And it's I can see why some people are not interested in it. It's also a bit slower, I guess, in pace. But yeah, I mean, I loved it. The movie also, when you like, because you read about things that happen during the long walk, and again, in rather graphic detail on what's happening,
Mhm.
and they actually show a lot of that in the movie, and that made me pause for a second. That's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Running Man is a little bit less, like, it's not as graphic. I don't think there's as many graphic scenes at all. The Schwarzenegger movie is very different than the book. The idea is the same, that you can join a game, and if you survive a certain amount of time, you can win a lot of money. Like, that's the main idea. But how they go about it in the book versus the movie is very different. And I mean, I love these types of book. I think they're great. But yeah, you need to like it. It's nothing.
Mhm.
It's not your typical King. It's very different, and you need to kind of, you know, be okay with stories like that, and kind of like stories like that. So
Mhm.
I like the movie, but I like Schwarzenegger. So
Oh, I like Schwarzenegger too. He's great. I've liked him in a lot of movies that I've seen,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I just didn't care for the story itself at the time I saw the movie. So, but yeah, he's great. Yeah.
yeah. That's what Danielle and Chess said, that the movie is rather different.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jake didn't like the ending either. I think that's the general opinion about Fairy Tale, that it starts off really good, and then all of a sudden he loses people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about the movie, now, of course, I haven't seen the new movie. I only saw the original Pet Sematary movie. But the thing in the movie was they also kind of they made it so that Rachel could also see Victor Pascal, or at least it felt like it, and that was not at all in the book. It was only Lewis and Ellie
Yeah.
that could see the ghosts and see the spirits, and Judd, of course, too. Although Judd to a lesser extent, I feel like, and maybe it's because he was older at that time.
Yeah.
Maybe that quote unquote power wanes as you get into your later years, uh, but yeah, and that so they kind of, I don't know, the movie was weird on that, and then the absence of Norma, and uh, Victor Pascal had a much more extended role in the movie than he did in the book. He was very important in the book, but he was in the movie a lot more than he was in the book. So
Interesting. Was the movie then more centered about the resurrection side of things?
it wasn't any more centered on it than the book was, I don't think, but they played up the freakishness of it a lot more. Like,
Gotcha.
you get a lot of scenes where you're panning into the glowing eyes of the cat, and the movie basically makes Jake, not Jake, sorry, Gage, makes him into this like walking demon child.
Yeah.
Kind of like a an actual living, breathing version of Chucky. That's kind of what it felt like. I don't know, Danielle, what do you think?
I hated the movie so much. No, and other than it being so cheesy and just like completely, I realize that the movie is so much, you have to condense so much into a movie, so there wasn't as much time to like explain all the whys. But the one thing that really, really bothered me about the movie was them leaving out Norma. And when they left out Norma, they left out the whole scene where she had like her episode and Lewis revived her. And then when the whole thing happened with the cat, Judd's kind of like payment, like I owe you one for looking after Norma, was to show him the cemetery then. Where in the movie, it was just like, oh, here, let me show you this thing.
Right.
There just wasn't as much, it didn't make as much sense. It just felt really random in the movie versus.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because I mean, for all intents and purposes, if you'd never read the book before, you could have gone into the movie and just assumed that Judd was a lifelong bachelor. Like, there's literally no mention of him ever having been married.
Interesting, because the book also has a lot of commentary, especially at the end, when it becomes apparent that there is like this weird creature that knows everything about everyone in the body. Like that's what actually being resurrected. It's saying a lot of things in regards to him being unfaithful. I think if I remember that correctly, right? That he and that she also wasn't faithful, and like all those things. And that's also, I don't know how much of that was in the movie. But yeah, that's an interesting that's an interesting part.
And there were also little points in the story where I felt like maybe Lewis would have been unfaithful, like gotten into an affair with Missy. Did you guys get that?
Oh, yeah. Lewis's attitude toward Missy and her husband, and like, when the pine needles were in the bed and he was like, oh, she's gonna wash my sheets, she's gonna think we're up to some freaky stuff, and like just
right.
Yeah, and then there was the whole like her like embracing him thing, I think, at the funeral home, and there was some suggestion made there, and that wasn't the movie at all.
Yeah, so I hadn't thought about it before, but now thinking back to the whole thing with Judd having been unfaithful, and then like maybe that spirit kind of feeds off that too, like feeds off of people who have like extreme feelings of guilt and remorse over things that they've done in their life, or thoughts that they've had, and they kind of feeds off it. Kind of, maybe, I don't know.
Well, it did definitely in the story when Judd was telling on the boy that was resurrected before, right? Years and years ago, when he's telling the story of, there was one time someone that did that. And that kid was spouting all the things too, wasn't it? When they were approaching the kid in the backyard, and then was saying also all the things like, I know what you guys did. I know what you did last summer.
Right.
Vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was definitely something where that thing feeds off of, guilt is probably a good thing. I was thinking fears, but I think guilt is much better. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely there. And I thought it was interesting. You pop up Jake's last comment about Rachel being would have been a better character. You mentioned that too, Danielle. You mentioned that to me about maybe it would have been a more interesting book if Rachel had been the POV as opposed to Lewis. Yeah. I remember that distinctly, that you had mentioned something like that to me, partly because you liked Rachel's character a whole lot more than Lewis's character.
Rachel is definitely an interesting character, and Rachel is the wife.
Yeah.
So it's do you mean the daughter had the shine too? And I could totally see that. So Emily,
Yeah.
what's her name?
I was a big Ellie fan.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The daughter was
Ellie's
fantastic.
the
I love
daughter,
the
yeah.
daughter too. Yeah. And I think, I mean, here in Twilight, they rewrote the first book out of the other person's view, right? The first Twilight book that came out 20 years ago was Bella's view, and then they brought out the one out of Edward's view. They should do the same with Pet Semetary. Stephen King should write it the same story, but out of I would like both. I like the idea of Rachel due to her life with her sister, like her growing up with her sister, that whole situation, but also the daughter, and then maybe even like after everything happened, because we also don't know what happens with the daughter, right? She stayed with the grandparents. We don't know what happens if she comes back or if she stays with the grandparents forever, or what has happened. Yeah, so I could totally see that being really interesting.
Yeah.
You would have freaked out if you saw how they portrayed Zelda, the sister.
Oh yeah, Zelda was.
Sorry,
in
Jake.
the movie, in the movie, the way they portrayed Rachel's sister Zelda was horrifying.
I mean, the way they portrayed it in the book was horrifying. Like, I'm not someone who usually visualizes in a lot of detail when something is described, but I could see how the sister was, fighting in the bed and cramping up and being like all kind of square. And I was like, oh my God. He put a lot of effort into the description as well of that.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, and not only did they in the movie, not only did they amp up the freakish nature of her experiences with Zelda as a young girl and the horrific things that the disease did to Zelda's body. They really amped that up. But then because of the whole thing of the movie trying to give Rachel the shine as well, she kept seeing her sister at different points throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. Could be. Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole different level of what the F am I reading here in this book? Yeah. The tonal shift from hokey fun 80s movie to horror. I mean, to be fair, I mean, again, I didn't watch the movie, but 80s, I can only imagine, especially watching it now, 40 years later. Oh God, 45 years later. Like just in general, how the movie was made back then, right? That probably just adds to the cheesiness nowadays as well.
Yeah.
Not a movie I will ever watch.
Movies were pretty cheesy. After reading The Hellbound Heart, I went back and watched the first Hellraiser movie. Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great as an adaptation of the book. They pretty much adapted it pretty faithfully, but oh man, it was so hokey. It was so bad. Anyway, sorry. We're talking about Pet Semetary. I keep getting off that.
I think that was earlier to your comment about the guilt feeling. Maybe I think that was the same time.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah.
I missed a couple of comments. I apologize for that. You all of a sudden started exploding in the chat, guys. So I missed other things.
That recontextualization was just kind of really off the cuff because that's the nice thing about discussions like this is some of these things you never think of until they come up. And it's like, I didn't really put all that together until just now. So
yeah. Going back about the Bachman books, absolutely right. More nihilistic and depressing.
Yeah,
they're all very dark. No happy ending inside anywhere. Yeah. Yep. And then I saw Stacy. Less world building. Yeah, it's more about the experience, less the world around it. There's a lot more like reading between the line on what the world would look like for most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Interesting.
I didn't know they made a movie to Gerald's Game. I don't know if I would want to watch that.
Yeah, they did. I never saw it. So it was It was directed by Mike Flanagan, the guy that did Haunting of Hill House and Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. And I've heard it's really good. I haven't read the book or seen the movie, though.
Well, I read the book a while ago, and I mean, essentially, again, right? It's this one person setting. You're in someone's head, kind of a sexy weekend gone wrong type of thing, where she accidentally kills her partner while she is chained to the bed, and then no one knows that they are in the middle of nowhere in kind of like a vacation area, but outside of the typical vacation time, so there's no one there. So it's just her and her trying to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't want to see that as a movie necessarily.
Yeah. Mike Flanagan's one of my favorite working directors, though. And he's signed on to do The Dark Tower, like to do a TV adaptation of it, from what I understand. So,
interesting.
If anybody can do it, he can do it. He's a very gifted director, I think.
Well, maybe we wait then for the movie. Instead of reading the Dark Tower books, we wait for the movie, the TV show.
No, I wouldn't say that, because no matter what adaptation you get of the Dark Tower, it's still not going to be as good. And Dark Tower is hard to adapt. It's hard to adapt. Yeah, he did Dr. Sleep as well. I forgot he did Life of Chuck. That's another one I want to see. Yeah.
All right.
And read. I want to read the book and watch the movie as well.
Jake, are you talking about a Pet Semetary remake? Or sorry, I missed that earlier. What remake are you talking about? Is there another Pet Semetary movie?
I know the new Pet Semetary movie has Ellie getting killed instead of Gage, and she ends up becoming the demon child, from what I understand.
Okay. I mean, sure. The last 20%. Yeah. Well, there we are again. Bloated sometimes.
Yeah. I hope he completes it, because it would be really good. It would be cool to see it on the screen.
That would then definitely mean, before watching it, to read the whole series.
Yeah.
That's the latest. Oh, there is a second Pet Semetary movie? My goodness. Mm-hmm. How many of his movies have been made multiple times at this point?
Yeah, that's the one that I was mentioning, where Ellie's the one that dies. There have been, I know there have been 2 adaptations of Salem's Lot, and I actually saw both of them. The newest one that came out, I think, last year, and it was terrible. But then the 70s miniseries is really good. I quite enjoyed that one. And then I've heard there's a miniseries of The Shining, which is supposedly supposed to be more in line with the book.
And that's pretty recent, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Or am I mixing this up with something else now?
Might have come out in 2004 or something like that.
Okay,
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but
yeah.
Well.
Yeah, that came out yesterday, Friday, right? The second Running Man.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure I want to watch that.
The trailer was like pretty. It seemed like it was going to be stressful.
Did they make it? I don't know. I didn't watch the trailer or anything, because I'm still contemplating if I want to watch it. But did they make it again as a game show, like in the movie? Like really more on the game show aspect, because the movie was very game show heavy. The book, it was more the guy running around in the city. There was not as many like game show setting elements in there. So I wonder if they are closer to the book now with the remake, or if it's still whatever interpretation.
Yeah.
It appeared to be him running around like for his life, trying not to get killed. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the story. That's essentially the story.
Pet Semetary 2 movie as well.
Oh my God. Oh, so
There's-
that would be then what happened after? Like after he resurrects Rachel? Would that be in that movie?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Or it's a completely new family falling into the same trap.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's hard to say. I know there's a Return to Salem's Lot movie as well.
I want to check now. Hang on. I need to look this up now. Pet Semetary 2. Is that a Stephen King sanctioned version of the movie?
I doubt it. I mean, who knows? I mean,
Oh, it didn't continue the Creed's arc. Okay, so it does not.
Stephen King is very hit or miss as to whether or not he gives his blessing to adaptations of his works. Like, he hated The Shining, and I think with good reason. He hated the movie.
So Pet Semetary 2 is the same town but a different family.
So
Yep.
I said.
Yeah, you were absolutely right.
Yep. You called it, Danielle.
Called it.
One night, Gus shoots and kills Drew's beloved dog Zoe after the dog disturbs him during sex. Drew asks Jeff to help him bury the dog in the Micmac burial ground to see if the rumors are true that it can resurrect the dead. Yeah, sounds like something to watch. Absolutely.
Don't cross the line. Man.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, please do that. Then we know if we have to go or if we can skip
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I would watch that.
Yeah.
I mean,
The first movie felt like that, kind of.
watch party later on the Discord somewhere.
Oh my.
Oh god. Maybe not.
Oh.
Awesome. On that note, wait, hang on. Favorite movies. Okay.
Mm.
All right. Well, we'll need to read the books first. Got it. Anything else that we need to cover as part of the Pet Semetary thing? Anything? Did we forget anything? I don't think so, but just in case, making sure.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, then I guess it's time to go watch Pet Semetary 2 for all of us, right? And then watch Stacy's and Jake's review of Running Man at a later point. I agree. This was a great chat. Thanks so much for the therapy session. I think that was very needed and definitely helped with working through everything a bit better. So thank you so much for that. Thanks everyone in the chat for joining us. Sorry, Shaz, I interrupted you.
That was fun. Very lively chat.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. There's always so much to talk about with King too, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, then, thanks very much for joining. I hope you have an amazing Sunday afternoon, a great week next week. And yeah, we'll see you all soon.
Happy New Week, everybody.